This is Kugan Cassius for IFLTV. Delighted to be joined by Mr. Brandon Glanton. How are you, sir?
I'm well, I'm well. How are you?
I'm all good. What part of the US are you in at the moment?
So as of right now, I'm in Fort Mitchell, Alabama. It's about 2 hours outside of Atlanta, where my home is.
Okay. You've been training today?
Yeah, yeah. So this is my training facility. We got a living facility in the back. So when I'm in training camp, I just come stay right here in the gym and we wake up to boxing, go to sleep to boxing and do it again.
Absolutely. Right. The undercard for April 26th has been announced now, and you will take on former world champion in Chris Billam-Smith.
Sure.
I've seen some of your interviews over the last couple of days, which we'll come on to in a bit. How do you rate Chris Billam-Smith, though? Obviously, he had that loss to Ramirez last time out, but how do you rate him as a fighter, Brandon?
Well, first and foremost, I just want to thank His Excellency Ben Shalom, my management, Noble Sports, Team Eubank, for even giving me the opportunity to face Chris. So, uh, extreme gratitude. It's the opportunity of a lifetime. This is Ring Magazine's first show, so it's my honor and my pleasure to be on the undercard. And the fight, a former world champion and Chris, it's the biggest stage in the best boxing country in the world. So yeah, I'm ecstatic. But as far as Chris, I think he's a strong guy. He's a tough guy. He's got a lot of tenacity. But Chris is one who doesn't offer any adjustments, and I think he's overmatched. I know he's overmatched. This is Chris ain't doing this because he wants to. He's doing this because he has to. I'm just, and I obviously, well, I know people might say otherwise, but I'm just a loudmouth American until they see me fight, right? Or till they have a moment to listen to me speak, and they'll realize it's not that. I'm confident. Obviously, I'm happy about the opportunity, but I'm coming to his home, right? So this is I'm all wrong for Chris. With everything he's done, and listen, he's fought on bigger stages. He's he's been at the pinnacle. He's had the world title. I'm going to batter Chris. I'm so happy they're letting this happen because boxing is Turkey is slowly making boxing what it needs to be, and I'm grateful. Make the best fight the best. I'm gonna show the world that he's not the best. He don't belong here. So that's what I think of Chris.
Okay. Brandon, you've been pro for 7 or 8 years, only suffered two
Mm.
losses in your career. I think you're on a 3 or 4 fight winning run at the moment. Why have they taken this fight with you then? What do they see in you that they think they can exploit, as in Team Billam-Smith?
Well, I think he's at a crossroads. He couldn't get through an overweight super middleweight. Uh, he couldn't take what he dished out. For Billum and myself, it's either shit or get off the pot. And and forgive me for my language, but that's what it is. It's 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 fight or flight. So Chris is faced with a guy like myself. Like I said, people don't choose to fight me. Every fight that I've gotten, the people have been forced into fighting. He, he's doing this because he has to. He it was either fight me or what? Who you gonna fight? It's either gonna fight somebody that he's way overmatched for, or somebody like myself who. And so I just happen to be the guy who Turkey and Ben picked, but Chris, he's done. And I'm gonna show him. He might come back. He might hear this interview, and he might will up everything he's got to try to do his best. But at the end of the day, he won't have it. He won't have it. I'm not. overweight to make this weight class. I'm rock solid. I do what I need to do. You saw what I've done to my opponents. Like I think I told another interviewer, out of 22 million, I've dropped or knocked out 21. Numbers don't lie. You know what I mean? This guy, I'm not saying Chris is feather fisted, but he ain't been hit like this before. But you've seen me hit a million times. I don't even swell. I'm gonna batter that man. He has no choice but to take this fight. If he doesn't, okay, he'll just be removed. That's what it is. It's a business. So
Brandon, are you confident that you will knock or stop Chris Billam-Smith out?
I doubt Chris Billam-Smith enters a boxing ring again when I'm done with him.
Do you believe you'll retire him?
100%. This is, you gotta understand, for everybody watching, it's entertainment. But for the fighters, I'm getting, and you're gonna put me in a box. You're gonna put 10-ounce gloves on me, and you tell me to fight to take care of my family. He's gonna have the fight of his life. He's not fought anybody like me. He's been in big fights. All respect. He beat world champion. Respect. But the violence, he ain't experienced that. I won't be trying to hold him for 12 rounds. That's for sure. He I don't think he's been in there with anybody as violent. I'm not Isaac Chamberlain. You know what I mean? I'm not. No. He's gonna have to fight. He's gonna go through things. He's gonna be placed in a position that's very uncomfortable, and then he's gonna stay there. And then, like I said, I mean, you talk to boxing guys all the time. I'm sure you deal with fighters every day, so you've heard the threats and this and the that. But Chris is the one who's gonna feel me. He's gonna feel me. He got to get in there. Words will win, that's for sure. I could say whatever, but my resume don't lie. My record doesn't lie. Numbers are the only thing on planet Earth that are consistent. Numbers. So if you look at the numbers, I'm bigger than Chris. I'm stronger than Chris. I punch harder than Chris. I'm more violent than Chris. And I got more gas than Chris. Chris don't want these problems. Numbers don't lie. So
Brandon, what does it mean to you to be part of that huge card, which is going to sell out when it goes on sale? 60,000, Conor Benn versus Chris Eubank, Tottenham Stadium here in England. It's a big event. Ring Magazine. It's a huge event. What does it mean to you to be part of that show that Turkey's putting on?
oh man, it's just magnificent. Like I said, without Turkey, without Ben, without my management, I wouldn't even be here. So for that, outside of the violence, outside of the show and all that, I'm grateful. This is gratitude. You know what I mean? I've always wanted to fight in the UK. I've been out there to come to the fights. They're massive. They are, man, you got fights in the ring, you got fights in the crowd. Man, I'm just glad to be here. I'm glad to be a part of it. And I'm glad that my name was even mentioned. I'm eternally thankful because I've been waiting and waiting and waiting. And I will make it very known. I'll show my gratitude. That's for sure. I don't think words can show how I feel. So I'm just this is the biggest stage, and I live this life, so this is what I'm gonna do.
Why do they call you bulletproof?
Yeah, you know what? Obviously, if you've seen me fight, like I said, this is how I'm gonna look when I get out of the ring with Chris. Uh, he thinks he could take damage, except for he ain't took damage like this. But outside of boxing, bulletproof is how you treat people. Being bulletproof in how you treat people. Being bulletproof in your training, making sure you're doing what you're supposed to do around the clock, regardless of who's looking. Being bulletproof in your eating, right? Making sure you're eating. If you got a Ferrari, you don't put 87. You got to put the best type of fuel in a Ferrari. Why? Because you got to make sure it performs the best. You got to be bulletproof in everything, right? So, although obviously, yeah, if you shoot me, I'm not bulletproof. But if I live my life and I do my training in a way that says, okay, I want to be bulletproof. I want to cover all ends. I want to make sure I leave no stone unturned. That's being bulletproof. So being bulletproof is more of a goal. It's a continuous goal. Just like the guy who says, "Oh, I know everything." We need to get away from that guy because if he knows everything, that means you have a ceiling, right?
Yeah.
So if I'm attempting to be bulletproof, knowing I could never literally be bulletproof, I'm always striving for better, for better, for better. You know, if I'm treating this guy might be homeless, he might be poor, he might be whatever, but treat him with respect. Shake his hand. You know, Chris didn't shake my hand when I stuck it out. He looked at it. He ain't bulletproof. That was wrong. I didn't deserve that. So he's gonna pay for that. That's where the animosity comes from. So uh being bulletproof is much more than being able to take punches. Is being a good person, a good human being, solid everywhere. So good character. That's being bulletproof. So, for whatever that's worth to you, you know.
No, it is. It's worth a lot to me because I did wonder about the kind of name you have, bulletproof. I did first of all assume that you'd survived the shooting. To be fair, I did think that
Ah.
that's why I did, but that's what you'd think.
All
Um,
right.
that's not the case. So I like your explanation of it, Brandon. So very well put.
It's just too many people they get in these high places, man, and they treat people differently. These high stages and big paydays and fancy arenas, they don't turn you into something. It just shows who you really are. So I'm just glad to be who I am in the position that I'm in. So
Well, listen, it's nearly February, so this date of the 26th is going to roll round very quickly.
mhm.
Just the last one before I let you go, Brandon. What is your thoughts on the main event between, I'm assuming, your team Eubank because of Napa, and Conor Benn? What's your thoughts about that?
Eubank knockout middle rounds. He too small. Ben's too small. Plus, I've been in there with Chris, and I think he all wrong for kind of being. I think he young. He talks too much, and I mean I respect him. Be bold, but Eubank has been in these waters a bit longer than Ben, and I think he's gonna find himself looking up at the lights. So he's talked a lot. That's a lot to back up. That's a tall order, and if he don't, I don't know if it's for the media or not, but I don't know if he doesn't respect Eubank or what it is. But like I said, I've been in there with him. I remember. So, and I'm a lot heavy. I'm a few weight classes above Chris. So, you know, yeah, I think this is the fight of Ben's life. I think this is another day in the office for Chris,
Are you up to date with the
personally.
rivalry between the two, with their fathers, etc.? Are you up to date with all that?
I don't know everything about their fathers. Obviously I know more about Chris's dad,
Yeah.
but I just look at the boxing. That part, you know what I mean? That's for the fans. The boxing. When those worlds collide, when you get this guy in the ring with a 47 pounder, he's gonna show him why there are weight classes, you know? So he's not hey, best of luck. you know. So that's man. I was in there with Chris, and we've done a couple rounds. It's going pretty good. out of nowhere, this guy lets go like 60 punches, and I'm like, yo, when is he gonna stop? You know? I remember it's like a whirlwind. So I just personally, I don't think Ben can deal with that. You know what I mean? That was a lot for me, and I'm 200 pounds. So nah. Plus Chris has been there so many times. So much it's his experience, man. It's a lot. So hey, it'll be a great show for the fans, that's for sure. Both punches, both it's gonna be good. I'm looking forward to it. As soon as I knock out, I'll tell you what, as soon as I knock out Billum, I'm gonna be right back in the stands. So
Well, listen, not long to find out. Like I said, 60,000 people. It's going to be a sellout in London. So we shall see what happens. Brandon, have you got anything else you want to say before we finish?
hey, you know what? Thanks for having me. Again, to all the powers that put this fight together, Turkey, Ben, everybody, thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to coming through and showing the UK fans what I'm about. Um, I'm quite sure at the end of it, my name will be roaring over there. So uh, to Chris, you better be training. Come up, beat your ass. That's just what it's about. But don't blink.
Brandon Glanton, thank you very much for coming to IFLTV. We'll catch up with you again nearer, obviously, the fight. I'm sure there'll be a press conference that's due to take place very soon. But we'll catch up with you again in due course.
Absolutely, absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Thank you very much.